Good morning, Adriana.
Good morning, Alex.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. So, today we're going to continue with our topic of cultural awareness. And today we're going to start with generalizations and stereotypes. So, I have a question for you. Do you know what are the differences between generalizations and stereotypes?
Well, I think generalizations are things that people think of a group of people taking into account only one person. And stereotypes, I think, that are ideas that people might get of a group of people because it has been delivered that thought or idea that way since long time ago.
Yes, you're right. So basically, generalizations and stereotypes could be considered almost the same, but there is a basic principle that makes it different, and it's that generalizations may be helpful in the sense of making a basic description about someone or a group of people, and a stereotype makes it more judgmental, more harmful, and that kind of thing. So I will give you an example. It would be different if we say Colombians need to trust with other people, with foreigners, in order to work well with them. That would be a generalization because it's describing a situation. But if you say Colombians are close people, they are not friendly, they are judgmental, and you can't work with them if you're a foreigner because they are going to judge you, that would make it a stereotype because it's harmful. Okay. And that it's the basic description. Also, a generalization can change. So let's say that you have an idea about a specific group of foreigners, and you say, okay, they belong to this culture and they are going to act like this. But then you know them and you see that they are not acting in that way, so your generalization about that culture will change, and a stereotype will not make it change because you would not even try to be close to that culture.
Okay.
And that's the basic difference. We're going to continue with a different activity.
Okay.
I'm going to show you some basic stereotypes that people have about different cultures around the world, and you have to tell me if they are true or false based on what you know or what you have heard about it. And the first one is London is full of red telephone boxes.
Well, I think that is true because I haven't heard of the red telephone boxes, but I have seen them in movies, so I think it is true.
They are present in a lot of material that are for cultural consume, so that's a basic idea that people has, but actually it's false. The number of red telephone boxes is decreasing, and nowadays there are less than 10,000 of them, and people are trying to find ways to create or to preserve them because they are disappearing little by little.
Okay.
And the next one is Peruvians eat doves or pigeons.
I think it is true. I've heard that Peruvians eat those kind of things.
Yes, well, actually, let's say 50-50 or so because in this idea started at the late 19th and it was created by Chileans. And the thing is that, I don't know if you know it, but Peruvians and Chileans are not close friends. They have a lot of problems within them. And at the late 19th, there were lots of Peruvians who were arriving to Chile. And they were judged because Chilean people started saying things like, okay, they are not our friends, we have had problems before and we have to keep to stay away from them. And there was a place in Chile that was Plaza de las Armas. Here it would be like Plaza de Nariño, and this place was full of pigeons, and suddenly they started to disappear. And Chileans started mocking about it and said things like, okay, this must be because of the Peruvians, they must eat them. And that's where that joke about Peruvians eating doves started. And the next one, Japanese are afraid of number 4.
Well, I haven't heard anything about them being afraid of the number 4, but I can compare it to this more Western culture that we are afraid of number 13. So
Yes.
I would say yes, that thing is true.
Well, actually, it is. I will explain you why. So, in Japanese writing, there are two kanjis. Okay, these are those symbols that they use, and they are pronounced. There are two kanjis that are pronounced in the same way, and they are pronounced as shi. And shi in Japanese can mean whether for or death. So that's why people that it's very superstitious about she, they can say she out loud because it will be like calling the death. So they try to avoid it. And as you can see in this image, they avoid it in public places or in elevators as here. So yes,
Okay,
it's true. And the next one is Africa is hot 24/7, 365.
No, that is definitely not true.
Well, that's an idea people have about Africa, right? They think it's full of jungle and monkeys and lions.
And giraffes.
Yes, but actually Africa is a whole continent and it's very diverse, and there are lots of places that are even full of snow, and Africans even have won in the Winter Olympics.
Okay.
So there are places that are like Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. So it's not hot 24/7, 365. And the last one is French people do not take baths regularly.
That's true.
Yes, actually, there was a survey that studied the health habits in French people, and they found that 50% of French people do not take a shower every day. They can even stay. Yes, that's disgusting. They can even stay like 4 days without taking a shower, and when they do, they are not longer than 9 minutes. So yes,
Oh my
it's
God.
true.
Okay.
Corte. Okay. ¿Qué sigue? Okay. So Adriana, now I'm going to teach you some basic idioms. There are 9 idioms used to make generalizations.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
So the first one is to label someone. Here you have an image with a literal meaning. What do you think is the meaning of to label someone?
Well, I believe it would be like like the word says, label someone, to put a mark on someone, depending on how he or she acts or is, or where is he's from, depending on his or her characteristics.
Yes, so here you have the meaning. It's to use a word or phrase to describe someone or someone, and generally is used for unfair descriptions.
Okay.
And here you have an example. Can you read it, please?
Yes, we should stop labeling everyone. We can't build barriers where they do not exist.
So you understand the meaning of label, and here, as you can see in the example, it's not to label someone but labeling everyone. So it's important to keep in mind that we can adapt an idiom and use a different tense, or let's say if you use third person to add an s, let's say she labels someone, and keep it there in mind because that will be used for our activities.
Okay.
So the second one is
So it would be like a verb.
yes,
To
to
label.
label someone.
Or
Label someone. Sorry, Leo. So the next one is 2 peas in a pot. These are the peas, and the pot is the place that protects them.
I don't know. From the pictures, I would say that you call people to peas in a pot when they are very close to each other. Maybe
Yes, kind of.
that they can be separate from one another.
So it's an expression that you use when two people are so similar or too alike,
Okay.
and it's pretty difficult to tell what is the difference between both of them. So here is the example. Can you read?
Yesterday, Marcus said Philippines and Taiwanese were as like as two peas in a pot. He can tell the difference.
So did you got the meaning?
Yeah, I got it.
Could you make up an example?
Okay. Uribe and Duque are like two peas in a pot. I can tell the difference between each one of them.
Very good example.
Yes.
So the next one, to tar someone with the same brush. The brush is this one, and well, it would be like,
What is tar? Tar is like what you do with the brush?
yes,
Like, I would say it has to do with
generalizing.
Yes.
Well, actually, it is. It's to unfairly categorize someone or a group of people as being the same as another person or thing, and it has a negative condition. So here is the example. Can you read it?
Yes. Just because the robber was a Latin guy, they should not tar the entire Latin American population with the same brush.
So here in the example, as you see, we put the entire Latin American population, and that would be like the adaptation of the idiom.
So if only one guy. Oh yes. So this example is saying that if one guy is a thief, that means the whole Latin American population are also thieves. Yes.
Should not be considered.
Should not be considered.
Yes. So
Yeah.
that would be the difference. And the next one, to cut with the same cloth.
Oh well, it's the same as in Spanish. Yes, the expression that we people or women say that están cortados con la misma tijera.
Sí.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it is they were born, I guess, the same way. They act the same the same way.
Yes. So here you can see a drawing. I don't know if you had seen it in movies like that kids draw a lot of children that are taken.
Yes.
And then they cut
Yes.
it, and it means that they're all the same, as you said in the example of men. And it would be to say that a group of people are equal either in behavior or appearance, and it has a negative condition. So here is an example.
So she thinks Mexican guys are all cut from the same cloth. For her, they are no more than chauvinist guys who love drinking.
Yes, so
That's Colombian.
so you would say the same about Colombia.
Yeah. Well, no, not all of them, but the majority.
So the next one, like a ball in a China shop. Ball is the animal.
Yeah. In China shop, it's you break it. I really don't know.
So here in the image, it's a China shop, and China shops, Chinese people tend to sell things that are very fragile and that can be broken.
Okay.
So what do you think?
So I don't know, maybe describing person that does disaster. I don't know. That can handle himself to do bad things.
It can cause a disaster.
Okay.
So when someone or something is careless and might cause damage. So read the example, please.
So Matthew believes that talking with someone when Henry is near is like a ball in a China's shop, because half of the things he says are swear words. So he's careless.
Careless, yes, and he may hurt someone with the things he say. So that's the meaning.
Okay.
The next one is To stick out like a sore thumb.
To stick out like a sore thumb.
So this is the thumb, and in the image it's hard. So
To stick out. Well, to always have a positive view on things.
well, actually, the thumb looks way different in comparison with the other fingers.
So, to be ourselves.
Yes, it would be like breaking the mold.
Okay.
So to be obviously different from the surrounding people or things. Here is the example.
She lives in a ghetto, but she doesn't act like someone from there. We think she sticks out like a sore thumb. Okay.
So did you get it?
Yeah.
Get it? And this one, it's pretty basic. I think everybody knows it. It's never judge a book by its cover.
Yeah, so it means that you don't have to speak or say things about a person without knowing them. Good.
Yes, it's to not give a superficial description about or to judge someone without knowing it well, and don't form an opinion of someone or something based on what it's seen on the surface. That's the actual meaning. And the example is
Jamaicans do not have snow, but they have one at the Winter Olympics. I'll never judge the book by its cover again. I didn't know that.
have you ever judged someone by its cover?
Yeah, a lot of times.
And I think this one is the last idiom. It's to put someone in a pigeonhole. This is the pigeonhole. That's the place where pigeons live. Or it could also be the place in which letters are put.
Okay. To put someone in a pigeonhole. To put someone in their place.
When you organize the letters, you put them by, like, say, groups or categories. So
No, I don't know.
let's see the definition. The meaning. To unfairly think or describe someone or something as belonging to a particular group or having only one particular skill or etc. So I guess maybe with the example it will be clearer for you.
Okay. Some people have the tendency to put Chinese people in a pigeonhole as terrible drivers but very good mathematicians. Okay.
So did you get this one? Get this one.
Yep.
And those are the idiomatic expressions for today. We're going to move on with some activities in order for you to practice them and to start using it in daily conversations. So as I see in your sheet of paper that you were bad at keeping a notebook with vocabulary, I brought you these idiomatic expressions.
Oh, these are beautiful.
These are the expressions that we saw today, so you don't have to worry about taking notes or.
Wow, thank you. You're making my life easier.
You're welcome. So we're going to move on with some activities in order for you to practice these idioms.
Okay. Okay. So I will give this class of Alex I 4.5, which I thought it was very good, and because he read what were my weaknesses and brought me these idioms so I would not take notes or be distracted with someone else. So I'm always going to have it with me. And also because he was aware of what I was doing. In the crossword activity, I forgot some expressions, but he helped me out through it, and he gave me synonyms of the words that I was missing. So from that, I think that was perfect from him. And also the activity, the presentation, everything was well presented because of the colors and the explanation he gave about stereotypes that were around us. Also, I found out some stereotypes were truth, which I thought they were false, and the other way around. So I actually learned that some stereotypes that I tend to think, not because of my judgment, but someone else's judgment. And I liked the part of writing the paragraph with 3 or 4 idioms. It was challenging because it has to do about me, and I really find hard to speak about me. But it made me realize that there are expressions I can use in English that I can replace from regular words that I use using idioms, at least talking about me or people, or to describe people. So that's why I give him this 4.5. A very good class.
So thank you very much, Adriana.
No, thanks to you, Alex.
Yeah.
This was a great class.
Thank you.